A new study says the neighborhood you live in could determine whether your children get asthma. If you live in the red area on this map, something could be going on that's bad for kids. Tonight we'll find out what that might be. Whether your child develops asthma could have a lot to do specifically with where you live. A new study of nearly 50,000 Chicago area children found a strong correlation between particular neighborhoods and asthma. Joining us now is Dr. Ruchi Gupta, the lead researcher on the study. She's on the pediatric faculty at both Children's Memorial Hospital and Northwestern's Feinberg School of Medicine. And that's Dr. Ruchi Gupta. Thank you very much for being here. First of all, some of the known factors that cause asthma, what are they?
Well, thank you for having me. So some of the factors that cause asthma include environmental and individual. So you can have individual factors, family history, if asthma runs in the family, or atopy, eczema, allergies run in the family, you have a higher chance of having asthma. But then there's a lot of environmental factors that have been shown to cause asthma as well. For example, pollution or allergies to environmental things, mold, dust. And allergies to animals, cats, dogs, allergies to foods. Those can all trigger asthma.
Did I read that dust mites can cause
Yes,
dust
definitely,
mites?
yeah.
How do you know if you have dust mites?
Well, you'll probably have to get your place inspected professionally, and then you'll probably find out if you have dust mites. And there's ways to get rid of it as well. That a lot of beds and carpeting, getting rid of carpeting, getting hardwood floors always helps. But these are all, causes or triggers. It's hard to differentiate always. And other things, like we said, pollution in a child's environment where they live, in their home, in their environment, in their school, and then, of course, their own genetics.
All right. Well, you conducted the study. It took several years.
Yes.
And you came up with a map, and we have a graph that plots your findings. First of all, as we're looking at this map of Chicago, tell us how you conducted the study and explain what we're looking at here.
All right. Yeah, so this map shows asthma rates across Chicago. So how we did this. So thanks to...
The asthma rates are the red and orange. The higher the rate, it's red and orange.
Yeah,
the lower the rate,
it's green.
It's green.
Yeah, so the dark green is the lowest rate. And then it goes to light green, then to yellow, then orange, and red is the highest rate. So red would be like greater than 20%, 30% asthma rates in that neighborhood. So how we did this, for example, asthma is very common in children. It affects over 9 million children in the United States, and it's especially common in urban areas like Chicago. So when we noted that asthma was common in urban areas, this thanks to the Chicago Initiative to raise asthma health equity, we were able to survey 50,000 children across Chicago in 105 schools. And so this was a great data set of children to look at. We mapped them across Chicago, and we looked at the variation in their asthma rates.
Could we go back to that map one more
please.
time? Because there's something I want to ask you
Yeah,
specifically.
no, I have to tell you a lot more about that map. It's
okay,
very
let's bring it back up. Tell me about the worst areas, the red areas.
Yeah, so what we found was asthma varies so much depending on the neighborhood you live in. And the red areas, you can see, can be bordered by green areas. So the worst areas, you can see there's an area in Austin, there's an area in Englewood, a little bit south, but they're bordered by these green areas, which have low asthma. So what was interesting is why was,
for example, this is a close-up. What is this close-up?
So this close-up shows Chicago lawn, low rates of asthma, less than 9% in Chicago lawn, which is less than the national average, bordered right next to West Englewood, which has rates greater than 20, 30% asthma. So why are these two neighborhoods sitting right next to each other with such different rates of asthma? If you live in Chicago lawn, your child may only have a 2% chance of having it. West Englewood, maybe a 30% chance. So fascinating. It's not uniform across Chicago. It just varies a lot by the neighborhood.
And we have another neighborhood on the north side of the city.
Yeah,
let's see if we can find that. Again, tell me what we're looking at and what it means.
So if you look at the north side, there's a lot more green on the north side. But if you look at Uptown, Uptown is a neighborhood with a diverse ethnicity. And you can see that there's even pockets inside a neighborhood with different rates of asthma. So in Uptown itself, you can have rates varying from 30% down to 10%. And it's bordered right by Lakeview with low rates, but then you see that red pocket of a high rate just in the middle of Lakeview.
Okay, so what are the possible things that are going on in these discrete neighborhoods that might explain the differences?
So that is the big question, and that's what we're looking to answer. And the next step in our study is we're going to look at a lot of positive factors. There's a lot of negative factors that we discussed that have been implicated in asthma.
Like what? The ones we talked about earlier?
Yeah, pollution, environmental negatives, violence, stress on a child. There's a lot of negative factors that have been shown to potentially have a role. We're going to look at positive factors, looking at social capital, economic potential, community amenities, and see what role those have. We actually have some preliminary data showing that they could have a very significant role in decreasing asthma in a community. We're going to add in negative factors like violence and air pollution. We're going to put them all in the mix and try to figure out exactly what it is. And by having this map and knowing the neighborhoods with high and low asthma rates, we can actually go into them and look in greater detail to see what is causing this big difference and hopefully reduce asthma in Chicago.
So when you say that there might be environmental things, you're not just
Yes.
talking about pollution, you might be talking about the social environment as well.
Definitely, absolutely. Social environment, stress has been shown to be a big factor in
So
children.
why would stress vary from one side of the street to the other?
That's a very good question. I mean, violence can cause stress. There are things in a community that could potentially cause stress, and that's what we need to find out.
In the paper, one mother was quoted as, one mother who has three children who have asthma was quoted as saying, well, maybe she should move to a different neighborhood. Would that make a difference?
Well, the big thing I really do want to get across is I don't want to scare any parents that live in those red neighborhoods and have them move, because there's so many factors that cause asthma. And you can't really just say it's my neighborhood. I mean, like I said, there's the genetic factors, there's the environmental factors, but what it should do is make that mother more aware of her surroundings. In her house, look around, look at those dust mites, look at cockroach dander, look at smoking. Cockroaches cause asthma, yes.
Oh.
That will be another segment, probably. It's a long...
Is it droppings and that sort of thing?
The cockroach, yeah, and it causes a trigger and inflammation in the child's lungs. Things like smoking. Smoking is something that you could stop, but it is a big trigger for asthma. So be more aware in your environment and try to decrease things that are known to cause asthma. Educate yourself and cause awareness, and I think that will help.
So it's not just a person's address?
No,
All
definitely
right.
not.
Dr. Ruchi Gupta, thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.